The following WCIA3 sports presentation is brought to you by Lohman Ray Insurance Group and Illinois State University. Now, Brett Behrens and the WCIA3 sports team. This is the Friday Football Fever Kickoff Show.
Welcome to the Friday Football Fever Kickoff Show. I'm your host, Brett Behrens, alongside Craig Schote and Anise McEwen. We are pumped up that high school football is back and cannot wait for tomorrow night.
Friday Football Fever returns with Week 1 games. Just 24 hours from now, teams will be warming up, ready to run through the tunnel and take the field.
But we've got a lot to get to in the next 30 minutes as the countdown to kickoff is on, so let's get it started. Here's a look at what's to come. Conference realignment continues to shift the landscape of high school sports, and especially football. The LOVC is the latest to see big changes.
We're chatting with 3 of the top Central Illinois Conference coaches in a roundtable interview at Memorial Stadium, the site of this year's state finals.
And we're taking a trip to Paris. I've heard it's nice this time of year, pretty much any time of year. The Tigers are coming off their first playoff appearance in 7 years.
There are dozens of storylines for the 2018 season. We're narrowing it down to our top 3 guys. All start. Gibson City Melvin Sibley in its quest to repeat as state champs is my top storyline. The Falcons get 13 starters back, including nearly their entire defense. Speaking of returners, that's the story at St. Joseph Ogden. Will they start a new playoff streak after missing out for the first time in 26 years? And after a big-time senior group graduates, how does Danville respond without Julian Pearl, Jerry Reed, Caleb Griffin, and more?
I'll go next, and I'm starting my list with Judah and Milford Cissna Park. Both schools are part of a new 8-man football conference. I'm really excited to see how that pans out. Number 2, I'm already looking at Week 2 when the Cola Wars return. Tuscola and Arcola doing battle for the first time since the playoffs of 2011. And finally for me, Maroa Forsyth has become a regular at state. Can they get back? They do have their quarterback returning, and I would never bet against Josh Jacobs.
As for my top 3, I'm sticking with another area powerhouse in Unity. They bumped up to 4A last year, making it to the second round of playoffs, but they lost all but one starter for this season's squad, so it could be a bit of a rebuild for Coach Scott Hamilton. Number 2, Tuscola. Coming off a state title appearance, can the Warriors make the return for redemption without a few key contributors? And of course, Rochester. Maybe it's less of a question of if, but when the Rockets will pick up their 8th title in 9 years. We wanted to know what your biggest stories are for 2018, so we posted the question on our social media pages. We'll have the response coming up later in the show.
All eyes will be in Champaign for the state finals the 2 days after Thanksgiving as they return to Memorial Stadium. The 8 title games rotate between Northern Illinois and the U of I every other year due to a scheduling conflict with the Illini. The switch started back in 2013.
Unity has the area's longest active playoff streak, making it to 24 straight years. Auburn is next at 21 years in a row, followed by Sacred Heart Griffin, Glenwood, and Maroa Forsyth. Stevenson is the state leader. They have gone to the postseason 29 consecutive seasons.
Speaking of Unity, the Rockets split the inaugural Illini Prairie Conference Championship with Monticello and Bloomington Central Catholic last season. All 3 teams finished the regular season with 8-1 records, and it'll be another competitive race for the title this season. But these 2 storied programs couldn't be any more different right now. Unity loses almost everybody. The Sages return several key skill players, including quarterback and receiver.
I would say probably 6 or 7 of our seniors saw significant time as sophomores, so we do have experience going for us. Again, not as much in the line, but overall we have a reasonable amount of experience.
We don't have a lot of guys that, lined up for, 10, 11, 12, 13 weeks and have done it for a couple years. So, our guys have done a good job, and I think we can be right there in the hunt for everything. I think the conference is pretty open with, 4, 5, 6 schools.
Unity and Monticello meet in Week 6. Keep an eye out for SJO. They should be in contention this season with a number of key players back, including running back Dwight Cole.
The Vermilion Valley Conference will likely once again be decided at the hands of 2-time defending champ Westville and Bismarck-Henning-Rossville Alvin. They finished 1-2 in the standings the last 3 years. Little different look and feel for the Tigers this year after losing a loaded senior class that led them to an 11-1 record, just 2 starters back. Blue Devils running back Caleb Leahy is healthy after tearing his ACL last season, but BHRA is also young. Only 1 senior starter returns.
I think the teams on the top maybe aren't going to be quite as loaded, and the teams that were not on the top I think are all a little better. So it looks to me as if everybody's evened out pretty much. That's what we're expecting. We're expecting a war every Friday.
Two other teams to keep an eye on are Salt Fork and Georgetown Ridge Farm.
Meanwhile, Clifton Central is the defending Sangamon Valley Conference champ after winning their first title last season since 2014. Getting off to a good start is big focus for the Comets this year. They dropped their first 2 games last year before rattling off 8 straight on their way to the second-round playoff run. The Comets will have a new look, though, after graduating 18 of their 22 starters, including 4 of 5 offensive linemen.
Last year, we had 4 guys coming in who had 2 of them had been starters since they were sophomores, and the other 2 had been starters since they were juniors. So they had that experience. Experience brings confidence. Confidence brings teamwork, and you know, that's the biggest difference for us right now.
We have a young line, but we also have young wide receivers and skill players. But they have a lot of talent. They just got to figure out how to use the talent and apply it in the game.
The Comets open the season tomorrow night, hosting Georgetown Ridge Farm.
As we head to our first break here on the Friday Football Fever Kickoff Show, a question to think about. Which area team holds the record for most state titles? I'll give you a hint. They're a perfect 7 for 7 in the championship game. The answer is next. Stay with us.